Welcome, guys, to Three Bold Takes. We're continuing to predict our games for the Week 1 2024 season, and we have landed on the college game of the week. Number 7 Notre Dame at number 20 Texas A&M. Game kicks off at 6:30. And Freddie, you said that spread was in Texas A&M's favor.
That is correct. 3 points in A&M's favor.
3-point favorite for A&M in Kyle Field. Chase, what are you thinking for this matchup between Texas A&M and Notre? Because I'll tell you this, it definitely looks pretty. The gold and navy, the maroon, it's a pretty look, but I'm not sure if the game's going to matter a whole heck of a lot come November.
I hate that you went me first, but I also love it. I thrive in these situations, Quinn. So this is awesome. You got former Duke Blue Devils head coach Mike Elko at the helm of Texas A&M. And then you also have former Duke Blue Devils quarterback Riley Leonard, the starter, just named about a week ago at Notre Dame. And Quinn, I can't lie to you, man. I had a dream the other night. I was tossing and turning, thinking about this game. This is not a joke, guys. It's going to sound like a joke, but it's not. Tossing and turning, and I was like, man, I don't think Texas A&M is going to do anything. And then I had an epiphany in that dream, and it said, hey, Chase, Jimbo Fisher is no longer the coach at Texas A&M. And I was like, yes, that's right. And in that dream, I thought about this game. I thought about the former coach playing his former quarterback. Who's going to know who better, you know? I'm thinking about Kyle Field and how loud that gets, how probably a top 3 place to play, one of the hardest, toughest stadiums to play in. And what time was this game again?
7:30 or 6:30 at night.
You're talking about at night under the lights? Man, you know, and then I started thinking about, you know, when I do my laundry and how it folds. And then I started thinking about how that correlates to Notre Dame and how they typically fold and how under lights Notre Dame always folds. And that's why Chase is going Texas A&M. Chase is calling a quick and early upset. I do think Texas A&M is going to have a different culture and a different speed under Elko, and this is going to be a lot like Florida State, Georgia Tech. You're not expecting Texas A&M in week 1. This is a big game. It doesn't have any implications. Well, it does for Notre Dame. They have kind of a soft schedule, but I think this is a reason. Texas A&M has something to prove in the Elko era, and I think Notre Dame does not play up to their competition in big games like this. I think Texas A&M is going to be a sturdy team. They're always a sturdy defense. You can't lie there, but they're always a very good, crisp team overall. I think Elko and the Aggies get it done in game 1. I'm going Texas A&M.
My biggest concern in this game is as we know, Notre Dame has had the approach the last couple of years to go out in the transfer portal to get a quarterback. Because that's been the one, let's be honest, that's been the one thing that Notre Dame has desperately needed is a very good quarterback, not a game manager, a difference maker at the quarterback position. Their defense is always solid. Their skill position players genuinely are not bad, right? They're not elite, but they're serviceable. The problem is that they don't have a game-changing quarterback. Last year, Sam Hartman, I thought he was going to be that guy coming in. We saw what he did the year before and thought, wow, Notre Dame may finally have a quarterback. And he did not play well in that opening game last year. There was a couple of big moments that he did not play well in, and there was a couple of big moments that he did play well in. And then you bring in Riley Leonard. They tried the same exact concept that they did the year before with Sam Hartman, and they bring in Riley Leonard from Duke. Now, is he injury prone? Possibly. I mean, you can't just look at last year and do with blinders on and act like it didn't happen. There's a possibility. I like his grit. I like the way he puts the team on his back and will genuinely give up himself for the team, right? Like we saw that a bunch last year at Duke. That's the reason why they were able to beat Clemson. He had a couple key, huge runs that ended up saving them toward the end of the game. But when you look at Texas A&M, them boys have talent, right? Like there's no doubt about it, right? Jimbo Fisher's gone. He was the biggest flop in coaching history, in my opinion, when it comes to a head coaching hire and desired mountaintop to climb. He was an ultimate disaster. I like Mike Elko, but it's his first game being the head coach at Texas A&M. There is a lot of pressure behind that, especially considering where Texas A&M has been in the past. They love this hire. I love this hire. I think long-term this is a great hire. but this is week 1. I'm going Notre Dame to win this game. I've got Riley Leonard defeating his former head coach in College Station at 6:30. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game, but ultimately I think Notre Dame wins by a touchdown.
Yeah, man, I'm going to keep it short and sweet with this one. I think for me, the biggest things I look at is at the coaching position. Marcus Freeman's got much more years under his belt than Elko. I love the Elko hire, and I think he can do something big with A&M. But you're like week 1, having a set identity as a unit is a big deal, and Notre Dame definitely has a clear edge there. I think you look at A&M's strong suit, I'd say it's defensive line play. Well, you look at Notre Dame's, it's offensive line play. So I think Notre Dame holds up in the trenches there. And then, Chase, you threw a big shot at Notre Dame saying they don't show up big in big moments with bright lights. And I would say that's true in the postseason. But in the regular season, I can think of multiple big games where they've won or they've narrowly lost. 2012, Oklahoma on the road. They narrowly lost to Ohio State last year. That was an uber competitive game. They had the big upset win over Clemson in, I believe that was 2020, where they came into South Bend. They were super competitive with Georgia in 2017. So, yeah, they don't necessarily always win in the bright lights, but really the them not showing up under the bright lights is more of a postseason problem. And then you look at Texas A&M in the adverse. They don't show up big when the lights are big. They had the big loss to UCLA when they had the top 25 matchup with Josh Rosen. They got beat by Miami last year. So I don't buy them as this program that just is going to win because Notre Dame doesn't show up in the big moments. I think Notre Dame is a more polished identity as a team right now than what Texas A&M has. So I like the Irish to come in, get a win. It's more important for them, I think. I think Texas A&M could rebound in SEC play. And if let's say you're a 10-2, or let's say you're a 9-3 or 10-3 SEC champion Texas A&M, who only lost 2 games in conference play and a game to Notre Dame, who would more than likely be a playoff team, you still have a solid year. I'm not saying they're going to be that good. I just think they have a lot more opportunities to push themselves back into a playoff appearance strictly from the fact that they have a conference championship they can win that Notre Dame doesn't get. Notre Dame has to win these big games. I think that's going to make them a hard team to beat for anyone who schedules them in these big type games. Is they're way bigger for Notre Dame than they are for these teams that are in conferences. But yeah, give me the Irish. I don't think it's a big win. I think it's I'm going to say 5-point win. I think they score a touchdown down 2, get the extra point, and win the game by 5. I ain't got much left to add to this game. I don't know if y'all do. I know we're going, Freddie got Notre Dame. Chase, you got A&M. Chase being a little bit of an SEC homer over here today. And I myself also going with the Irish. So make sure you guys follow, subscribe. We got more content coming out just like this all the way through the season, predicting these matchups every week until the national championship game. I've been Quinn. I've been joined by Freddie and Chase for 3 bold takes, and we'll see you in the next one.